Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 11. I hope you're doing well this week. I know that things are looking pretty different now on the Canvas boards, and for good reason. I've streamlined the rest of the semester for you, and I want this transition to go as smoothly as possible. So I'm recording this particular video kind of late on the Sunday before I'm sure you'll see it. I originally wasn't going to record a video, but then I decided sometimes it's easier for me to just show you what happened than it is to just hope for the best. So you're going to be receiving an email from me pretty soon that's going to have all kinds of information in it, and we're going to cover that information today. It's going to involve how the class has changed and all that good stuff. So first we're going to start by looking at this Canvas page. So you'll notice that it no longer starts on week 1. I've moved it down to week 10 so that you could just see everything a lot easier. And so you'll see week 10 is what you guys had to do this week. If you did not complete things for week 10, that's okay. You can have a week extension for week 10. So just get everything done for week 10. If you were late completing it, just send me an email and let me know, and I will give you credit, okay? And then you'll notice look how messy that is. Oh, there's so many links. But then if you go later, everything's up and it's clean and it's nice and it seems to be pretty clear. There's a line and there's more stuff down here. Your final exam is going to be taken online, so you'll be able to access that eventually. But right now, you should be able to see on the Canvas page all the stuff that you're going to have to do in our class, right? And so, for example, next week you have a reading quiz for weeks 10, 11, and 12, right? And that's due by midnight on Friday, 11:59 p.m. on Friday. So, and you'll notice that a lot of our assignments are now due at 11:59 p.m. on Fridays. What does that mean for you? We'll talk about it. On the Canvas page right now, you should be able to click on the PowerPoint slides. So I just gonna open that in a new tab. You can see all my tabs right here. Work in philosophy, gender, teaching sex and gender, philosophy, sex and gender next semester. So I'm looking up some stuff for that. But you can see our slides here for week 11. Which are the slides that I have open on my computer right now. And if you download those slides, you should be able to see the notes that are here that I'm kind of working from. I've tried to make all the slides have annotations and explanations, and I'll try to upload these videos for you. I think that might be helpful as well. Just kind of explain what's going on. So you'll see that we have a different kind of assignment that's going on for the next 2 weeks than what was in your original syllabus. What does that mean for you? Well, it means that I redid the syllabus a little bit, right? So let's look at the big changes in the new syllabus. I think if you want to see the new syllabus, you can go here, and then you can see the new syllabus is all on the syllabus page. You can click on it here. But the new syllabus changes are also listed in the online PowerPoint. You can see them in lots of places. So let's talk about the new grade assessment. Obviously, we're not going to be meeting in person anymore, which is unfortunate, but this is the way that the world has gone, right? And so participation is now going to include participation through online discussion boards, okay? The category is worth more because there's not going to be a second group presentation, right? So group presentations 0 and 1 are the only presentations that are going to count in that thing, because the idea of doing presentations with 40 of you on Zoom at the same time is a bit daunting. So we're just not going to have that, right? Because you're going to be speaking in your discussion board groups with your group members, right? So a lot of times you're going to have original posts with your group members that you're going to have to be responding to the texts and all that good stuff. So you're going to be doing a lot of participation with the groups and a lot of writing with the groups in those discussion boards, a lot more writing than you were doing before. So I think that it's like that assessment for a final presentation is no longer necessary. And also, your one paper that you wrote is now the only paper that you have to write. And why is that? Because your new discussion boards because the way discussion boards work, you're going to be doing so much more writing. I think it's only fair that that you don't have to do a second paper. If you would like to do a second paper, then we could work something out. And if you want to write a second paper to have it, take the place of your previous paper grade, yeah, just send me an email. We can work that out, no problem. So you'll see that participation is now worth 30%. So it's kind of just doing the work, right? 5% are those group presentations. 10% reading quizzes, it's the same. The reading quizzes are all updated and they're online. You take them in the same way. They're still open book, open note, open timed. The lowest quiz grade will be dropped. But I have moved the due date of all the reading quizzes to Fridays at 11:59 p.m. Thought that'd be simpler. Nothing changed the midterm exam because that was in the past. So I didn't go back and change the timeline on that. The final exam is going to be taken online. That's a major difference. It has to be taken in one sitting and will be timed. If you have I have my notes here, but if you have the need to have an extension of time, like you have a disability waiver, accommodation waiver, just remind me, and then that way I can go on there and give you an extension. No problem. Just send me an email, or we can talk on Google Hangouts or something. So you're going to be provided with a study guide, and it'll be part of your week 15 discussion board assignment, right? So you guys are actually going to be answering all the questions on the study guide in your week 15 discussion board assignment. So don't worry about that. The exam is timed, but I'm going to give you, I say 40, yeah, I'll probably give you 2 days to take it, right? But it's timed in the sense that you have to take it in one sitting, right? And again, you don't have a second paper to write anymore, right? So really what you see on the Canvas page right now with what the assignments are is what you get, right? You have discussion board activities each week. You have some reading quizzes. Starting next week, you'll have 3 more reading quizzes for weeks 10 to 12, 13, and 14. Week 15, you have a final discussion board. And then you have a final exam, and that's going to be it for this class. Someone sent me a cheeky little email where they're like, hey, can I do all the assignments at once and finish the class? Like, no, that's not how this works, because the discussion boards are still important. And it's very important to keep up on the readings. If the readings are not in the book, I've included the PDFs, and do remember that it's easy. You can just click on the readings. I actually went through and changed the readings where I'll say, read this, watch this, right? So it actually says so right there. So here's your reading for this week, right? I've included the chapter. And here also, again, this is on the Canvas page under the syllabus, but I've created a new course calendar. It's kind of funny. You can see where my cursor was when I took a picture of this. But so this is the new course calendar, right? So because we moved online, things had to change around. And I decided to give you a unit that might be familiar for those of you that are taking the biomedical ethics class. But I'm giving you a short primer on biomedical ethics because it's a version of applied ethics, and we were going to be doing more in-depth detail on animal ethics, which is an applied ethics about animals. But I think right now with what's going on in the world, it might be valuable for you to learn some of the major concepts in biomedical ethics. So that's why there's been a slight shift here. And I've got the first 2 chapters of the Vaughan book I've been using in that class, Lewis Vaughan's Bioethics, Principles, Issues, and Cases. And these are just going to give us a background on what's bioethics and how is it relevant to our life. And that's what we're going to be talking about the next couple weeks. Then we're going to be talking about the concept of doing the right thing in an unjust world. And then we're concluding the course, or we're not concluding the course, but our last reading is Peter Singer's Rich and Poor, right? And you'll notice that here there's actually media pieces that I want you to watch. And so a part of what you're missing is this in-class conversation. And you have, in some ways, your education has become a little bit more passive and active, where it's active in the sense that everything is on you, but it's passive in the sense that you're just kind of reading and watching stuff. But I think that is valuable as well, right? And luckily we had the first 7 weeks to help think about ethical questions, and now we're going to be going into a deep dive of these specific ones. Week 15, there's no new readings or media, but there's a discussion board activity that you're going to do in week 15 that's going to prepare you for the final exam, which you'll have 48 hours to take. Okay, so let's get started to talking about this week's assignments. So you're going to be reading the Vaughan chapter I told you about. And where do you find the chapter? Why? You find it right here. Read Louis Vaughan. And then I have the link right there on the website, on the Canvas page. I want you to watch an introduction to bioethics with Matthew Lau, excuse me, on YouTube. And as well as this is like a couple short YouTube videos and how to approach an ethical dilemma, right, through medical school model answers. I thought that was kind of funny. So I want you to watch these 2 short videos, and I want you to read this chapter. And for your original post, so the way the discussion board is going to work is you have an OP, an original post that each individual person in the class has to do, right? So in your original post this week, there's 2 sections of it, right? Part 1, you have to share an example of a bioethical issue that has affected your life. Now, you have to make reference to the actual course text, right? Because you have to show what bioethics is, right? It can be about you, yourself, a friend, a family member, an issue in your town, something you read about on Facebook. I think that the coronavirus and COVID-19 situation, the fact that we're all under quarantine might be relevant to your life right now. That could be an example. But it can be anything that you want that stuck with you, that's important to you, right? And I want you to provide an example, provide any hyperlinks to sources that you use in this, and I want you to explain a little bit of like how that example is related to the course materials, right? What you read for this week. And then in part 2, you and your group must complete argument exercises 1.1 and 1.2 on pages 30 and 31 of the Vaughan reading. You have to answer at least 3 questions each, so everyone in your group has to answer 3 questions, and your group is responsible for answering all of the questions. And your original posts are due by 11:59 p.m. on Thursday. And then everyone in your group has to respond, you have to read and respond to each of your group members' examples by 11:59 p.m. Friday, right? The replies must indicate your understanding of what they had to say, as well as your own understanding of the course materials. This isn't like cool post, bro. Like, you don't want to, like, people put work into this, so you want people to treat your work with respect, and you should treat other people's work with respect and show them that you are listening and you read it. So, whoa, that's big. So Louis Vaughan, Bioethics Principles, Issues, and Cases, 4th edition. If you want to buy the book, or if you want to take my bioethics class, this is a link to the book. As you can see, we have taken a bit of a pivot when it comes to our course content. Given the current global crisis, I decided to give you a bit of a primer on biomedical ethics, which is a kind of applied ethics. And again, applied ethics is when you apply ethics to given situations, right? We're going to spend 2 weeks covering the basics of what bioethics entails. Your reading for this week and next week will come from this text. You'll be invited to reflect on the nature of bioethics and the way different ethical theories can apply to it in your assignments. So the following are slides that should help guide your reading of the chapter. Not necessarily going to go super into them all, but I just wanted to, check out the PowerPoint slides. They've got information for you. Chapter 1's pretty dense as it's a large overview, but I think that you can do it. I believe in you, right? And so the author starts with talking about kind of a general overview of what ethics is. At this stage, you should be pretty good at this, right? There's ethics, the study of morality using the tools and methods of philosophy. Normative ethics, the search for and justification of moral standards or norms. Meta-ethics, the study of meaning and justifications of basic moral beliefs. Applied ethics, the use of moral norms and concept to resolve practical moral issues. Animal ethics, care ethics. Bioethics is applied ethics focused on healthcare, medical research, and medical technology, right? And that's what's relevant to us today, right? And these are just some slides that are, kind of, so these slides are going over a different version of ethical training that we didn't really do in our class, right? So it's valuable to check it out. But something that's really important is the concept of moral principles. This is important for bioethics. This is something that you're going to hear over and over again, if you haven't noticed already, in articles about the COVID-19 crisis and our government's response to it, right? A moral principle is an absolute principle. There's a couple of different kinds, right? There's one that says that it's an absolute principle that applies without exceptions, and some people say that it's prima facie principle, which means it applies in all cases except when exceptions are warranted, right? So there are 5 major biomedical moral principles that are discussed in this text. There's autonomy, right? That people have the right to make decisions about their own lives. There's non-malfeasance. That is, as a doctor or a medical care provider, you can't hurt people, right? Malfeasance is bad stuff, right? Beneficence. Bene is good, mala is bad. So beneficence is the opposite of malfeasance, right? Beneficence is that you should do everything you can as a physician or healthcare provider to help your patients. Utility is how useful is a particular treatment in saving a person, right? And justice, which I think you know what justice is, or maybe you think you do, and we'll work on that together in other philosophy classes. It's a big question, right? So these 5 biomedical moral principles, I've heard them talked about constantly in the news, and this is the reason why I wanted to change our syllabus a little bit to go over these concepts, right? And so these 5 principles are something that you definitely need to know in your life. The rest of the chapter is valuable as well, of course, and I just wanted to emphasize this in my just little chat with you at 10:40 now on a Sunday night about the value of this particular chapter. There's at the end of this chapter, there's a discussion of arguments and the nature of arguments that I think is very helpful. Just want to point that out. And as we've talked about in class, a moral argument is one whose conclusion is a moral statement, right? You know, we talk about what is ethics. Ethics is the study of morality, right? How do we know what is right and what is wrong? Not just what is right and what is wrong, but how do we know what is right and what is wrong? To discuss one more time, I want you to read the Vaughan chapter. I want you to watch those 2 YouTube videos. You have your discussion board posts that are due. I'm hoping that you're listening to this particular podcast. It's not a podcast. I'm going to put it on YouTube. And then, so for next week, you're reading Chapter 2, Bioethics and Moral Theories. I would like to emphasize again, if you missed any assignments in week 9 and week 10, just send me an email and say, whoops-a-daisies, I'm going to work on it, or something like that. Or in my personal favorite, do the assignment and then send me an email to say you finished the assignment. I love it when people do that because then I don't have to negotiate or anything like that. So go ahead and do the assignment if you miss anything. A few of you have made up assignments and I have not graded them yet. And obviously it's Sunday at 10:42. I haven't graded your last week's assignments because they weren't due until Saturday. So I'm going to get to those tomorrow and all that good stuff. So you're about to get an email from me that includes a link to this podcast, to this video. I hope that my other videos are going to be more engaging as these 2 perfect specimens are. But until then, for right now, I think this is what you get. You just get me like this. And you're going to get this kind of longer email. The other emails I've kind of got queued up are kind of shorter because I don't need to go in as much detail, right? If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please send me an email. My office hours have been shifted as well. Let me just see if I know it's here, so let me pull it up. Syllabi, spring, online. So I've actually shifted my office hours too, which you can see if you actually look at the syllabus itself. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 12 to 2. So those are my office hours via email. I'm going to be chilling on my computer. And if you really need to talk, we can talk on Google Hangout, which I think we all should have because you should have a Google account through the school. You guys know I'm deaf and I'm not the best on phones with people that I don't talk to a lot. So if you talk to me on Google Hangout, there's going to be a lot of, huh? What? Huh? So please forgive me for that, but you guys all knew about that kind of early on when I always have to ask you to repeat yourself in class. So it's a very different story. I know some of you have other classes where you're going to have Zoom sessions, and I think those are going to be really valuable for your other classes. In this class, we're going to try it out this way. And I think that you're going to have a very valuable ethics education. I'm really excited about this shift. Well, I'm not excited for the reason for the shift. I'm excited about hearing what you have to say in these discussion boards and seeing how you transition to this new normal for this semester. If you have any issues, like some of you, like don't forget that registration is happening. You can register for next semester's classes. If you have any struggles like registering, you can email your advisor and they're, believe us, we're here. We're all sequestered in our homes, but we're all around. All your advisors are around to, advise you and stuff like that. And if they didn't answer an email, I'd send them a gentle one in response. If you have real trouble with getting your advisor and you really need to talk to a professor, you guys know my email address, patricia.gross@finlandia.edu. So please send me an email and I'd be more than happy to help you with any concerns that you have. And if you also have any other concerns, just again, please let me know, okay? And we can just have a chat on a Google Hangouts, if that's what you want. You can't see any of my hand gestures, but, they're kind of like cool hand gestures because I'm a cool person. You can't see them anymore, so you just have my voice to go by, but you know how cool I am. Oh, I forgot that I was on this thing. Was there anything bad? No, everything's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete the last part of this. I wonder if this will let me delete. Okay, well, I will talk to you guys soon. I hope you have a great day. Send me an email if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Okay, bye.